Homeward Bound has a mission to end chronic homelessness. The city of Asheville adopted a 10-year plan to end homelessness in 2004. Homeward Bound is gathering the stories of those who are houseless and homeless to produce a musical folk life play. You will be challenged to question every stereotype and everything you thought you knew about why people are homeless as you meet the real people who are forced by their circumstances and their society to live in tents, on the streets, or at the mercy of homeless shelters. Join us as we begin this ambitious project.
I just want to talk to you a little bit about what it is that we're doing, why stories, why performance, why it matters, what difference it can make. We won't do this play with just people who are houseless or homeless or however we want to define, or living in shelters or recently homeless or whatever. Because the most powerful thing that's going to happen is the bond that's going to be between the people who are on stage together. So what we want to do is we want to reach out and be sure that we've got plenty of people who are the community members that are walking by us on the streets. I would love to see police in this project performing with us. Because then, if I'm a policeman, Red, and you and I have to do a scene together, we're going to find some things out, aren't we?
Why do a play? I mean, you can stand up in front of city council all you want and you know, say what needs to be done. But there's a difference when story gets involved, because you can argue politics all day long, but you can't argue somebody's story. You can't argue somebody's experience because you lived it. It's yours. So that's why we're doing this play, and we want to make sure that those voices of the people who aren't in the room right now, they get heard, and that's why we're giving the next 3 months over to gathering those stories.
Wow. You know, they did this in Homeward, Georgia. They called it Swamp Gravy. And while it did bring money from the outside in the form of tourism, it also did 3 other things. It created relationships of reconciliation across boundaries. It created the opportunity. When we tell our stories together, it challenged, I begin to see myself in your story in a way that challenges my own concept of who I am. That presents an opportunity for me to respond, and that creates possible transformation.
How many people have ever heard of Hampton, South Carolina? And these people from this very small, rural, poor community came together, told their stories to these guys over here, and they made a play out of it. And it's just amazing, the stories they put together. It had this nice thread, that wove the whole thing together. And it was unbelievable. It was funny. It was very, very interesting. Told a lot of the history of the community. Had a lot of emotional pieces to it to kind of tug at your heartstrings.
Cindy told you about Salkehatchie stew, but the thing that she didn't mention, which was really the greatest victory of all, was that stage was full of black and white people, almost 50-50 up on the stage, and there had not been any activity before that had done that. The friendships that you saw, the complete integration, the brotherhood and sisterhood and childhood and parenthood that was up there on that stage spoke much louder even than the stories that were in the play.
I'm really excited about this project. I've done, just so you know, most of y'all know me from A-Hope, but I've done theater stuff like this in other towns, and I just have seen how exciting it can be, so I'm really glad that we're doing it here.
So see this, February 11th, in a space that's not a theater, in a room with multiple stages, maybe bleachers around in a horseshoe shape. Stories begin. Lights come up on one bleacher here, and you see people that you know. Some of those people have backgrounds like the people in this room. Some of those people clearly come from a different place. But it may be the person, maybe the person who gets up every morning and drives a BMW to work, who is dressed as the homeless person because that's the role that they're taking. And it may be the homeless person who is the teacher or the college professor in a scene later, because that's the role that they're taking. And the lights come up on that scene, and that story is told, and a few minutes later the lights go down there, and they come up, and here's a whole large group scene, singing, dancing. 100 people can be a critical mass in a community. It can be bright enough, it can shine brightly enough that it's going to attract notice, and especially when I see the heads-up work that the leadership of these projects is doing to be sure that we don't lose. We don't just go up there and do this performance and nobody notices, you know, like the tree that falls in the forest, but nobody heard it, right? We create a performance that's visible. We're looking to make stories not to entertain, but we're looking to make stories to make a difference.
Necessary theater.
Necessary theater.
I think that communities divide themselves into very false sections of people and places, and that homelessness is in a really big way our collective failure to care for each other. And so I think we can do that better than we do, and there will be a heck of a lot less homelessness if we learn how to care for one another better.
I'm Becky Cope, Community Performance Project Director for Homeward Bound. The success of this ambitious project will depend upon the people who capture the vision and join us in our efforts. We need patrons who donate funds to help produce our play. We need storytellers and transcribers, performers, 100 strong from 4 to 94. We need costumers, set builders, ad sales, many, many, many more volunteers. Walk in the shoes of your friends and neighbors who are homeless. See through their eyes. Together, let's end chronic homelessness for good.